Trauma Recovery Anonymous is the latest 12-step program brought to the market of recovery. In this 12-step program, the individual is taught how to heal from any mental disorder diagnosis caused by any past trauma memory in a safe and non-intrusive 3-hour healing event. Statistics tell us that there are more than 1 billion people in the world today diagnosed with mental disorders. So I would ask you to like this presentation. The more likes I receive, the more people I can reach with this ray of hope. We also know that 3% to 8% of all industries are mistakes or errors. This would tell us that some 30 million to 80 million people of those diagnosed with mental disorders may have been misdiagnosed. And 1 in every 5 persons would have one of these conditions. I would ask you to please share this with your contacts, with your family and friends, your colleagues and communities. Maybe there's someone closer to home than you think who has one of these conditions, who could do with learning about this new spiritual solution, that they can break free of their mental disorder by treating the past trauma memory. Science tells us it's all about cause and effect. The cause is what happened in the past, in that past trauma memory. The effect is how it manifests in our lives. Mental health professionals look at how it manifests in our lives and they diagnose us based on those manifestations. But the problem isn't how it affects us. That was our solution. They were our best coping skills. The problem is the past trauma memory and how do we deal with the past trauma memory. And this 12-step program teaches any individual how to do that. I'm a 64-year-old man today. I carry the memory of what happened to a 12-year-old child 52 years ago and sympathy pains for what he went through. The truth is that he went through that trauma, not the 64-year-old man. I can't step back into the past and suffer his pain for him. It didn't happen to this 64-year-old man I am today. So I can't declare I was the victim of a trauma at the age of 12 because this 64-year-old man was never 12 years of age. I can only be 64 years of age today. Maybe you're a veteran, maybe you're in your 50s, and you're carrying the memory of something that happened to that younger aspect of you who enlisted to go off to fight in a foreign war, that 18, 19 or 20-year-old version of you. You carry the memory of what happened to them, their loss of innocence, and you carry sympathy pains for what they suffered. But you realize in this moment it didn't happen to you. You can no longer say, yes, I suffered in that war, because you are a 55-year-old man living in the present moment. You're carrying the memory of what happened to a younger version of you, 18, 19, 20 years of age. In the same way, you're someone who remembers a dysfunctional childhood. And up to now, you maybe even going around telling people that you were abused as a child. But the truth is, you're a 30 or 40-year-old man or woman today, and you have the memory of what happened to a child back in your history. It happened to a child. It didn't happen to the person you are today. You carry that memory for that younger self, and you carry sympathy pains for that child. But it didn't happen to you. Our first line of defense has to be abstinence from all forms of victimhood. And what happened in the past didn't happen to the person we are today. We've stopped talking and behaving as though it's our pain, it's our suffering, because it didn't happen to us. In the same way, if your boss is going to fire you today, you're not his victim. It's not that he doesn't like you. He chose you for a job. He picked you for a job. And if you can't do the job he employed you for, he'll find somebody else to do it. It's not because he doesn't like you that he's firing you. He's firing you because you're failing to live up to the standards that you were meant to meet, to do the job he wants you to do. The first line of defense in all of this is we are not the victim of the past, and we're not the victim of other people's behaviors. Other people do things to vent their own needs or their own frustrations. No matter how dysfunctional that is, they're meeting their own needs, and it's never about us. So in this process, there's 2 parts. The first part, we learn to give the details and the baggage of the past event back to our younger self. For me, it's back to that 12-year-old child. If you're that veteran, it's back to the 18 or 19-year-old version of you who enlisted. If you're that adult, it's back to that child who suffered the trauma. You're giving it back to the person who owns it. The truth is, our younger version of ourselves never asked, wanted, or needed us to fight their battles for them. They suffered, endured, survived, and overcame that trauma event, so we'd have a life today beyond their wildest dreams. And how do we know that? Because we're standing today, we're alive today. If our younger self had succumbed to that trauma, we wouldn't be in existence today. The fact that we do exist in the present moment means that they defeated that trauma memory. And if we make the mistake of thinking it's our responsibility, or we're conditioned to believing it's our responsibility, and we go back into the dark recesses of our mind, and we dig up this dead thing and we bring it into our present, the death, decay and disease of that dead thing is destroying everything it touches. It destroys our morals and our ethics and our character. It destroys all our hopes and dreams and aspirations. And it destroys our understanding or ability to love or be loved. It stops us from trusting and letting people get close. It destroys our ability to be empathetic or kind or loving or nurturing or caring, to achieve goals and aspirations. It destroys everything it touches. But the truth is, it doesn't belong in the present. What happened in the past belongs in the past. And our younger self can't cross over into the light until they have all their baggage back. They're stuck in this plane of existence, this plane of suffering for them, and they can't cross over into the light until we return the baggage back to them. And this program, Trauma Recovery Anonymous, allows each of us to return that baggage back to our younger self in a safe and non-intrusive manner. The first part of this program, Healing Any Trauma Memory, is available exclusively on the Amazon platform. It's a 2-hour practice. You purchase this book, it sells for $30. You have someone read the directions to you. You follow the instructions, and at the end of the 2 hours, you know in your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, that your younger self, your inner child, if you will, has taken that baggage and stepped into the light. You feel it in your body mentally. You get a peace of mind that you never experienced before. Physically, it's like a great weight comes off your shoulders. I like to share that it's as though you're carrying a cross on your back since the day you were born. And on this cross is all the despair, depression, and stress of the past, and all the people, places, and things who would press your buttons and trigger you, all the nightmares and flashbacks. And this moment, the cross is taken from you, and you feel your shoulders rolling back and a weightlessness coming into your body. At the same time, you feel your chest opening up and you can breathe for the first time. Like all the anxiety and dread and panic and fear in your chest of the unknown future. A giant elephant has got off your chest and left the room, and you feel like you can breathe again. Emotionally, you feel a sense of self-acceptance, that you're okay exactly as you are. No better or no worse than anybody else. No more people-pleasing or wearing masks. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be you with all your faults and defects and shortcomings. It's okay to be you. And spiritually, you heal the hole in your soul. When you carry the past into the present, it eats away at your soul. Nobody can see this, but it's eating away at your soul. They can only see how it manifests, and they treat the manifestation, but the manifestation isn't the problem. It's what is eating away at you. That's the problem. And in this practice, you're giving that back to your younger self, and you feel the release, the freedom in your soul, that this thing eating away at you disappears. In that moment, you know you've given the past away. If someone were to ask you about the past, you'd say, yeah, no, what happened to my younger self was terrible, and I feel for them, but it didn't happen to me, it's none of my business. And that moment, you understand you've got rid of the cause from your life. Now you have to remove the effect. When you get rid of the past trauma memory, now you have to learn to undo the learned dysfunctional behaviors and habits of that mental disorder. Or if you have more than one, you learn how to break free of those. And you do that by using the 12-step program of Trauma Recovery Anonymous. Again, it sells on Amazon and other book platforms for around $12 or $13. And you take this 12-step program, and in 1 hour, you undo all that learned dysfunctional behavior. And suddenly 3 hours later, you've let go of the past, and you've undone the behaviors and habits of that dysfunctional behavior, of that disorder. And you're free to be a normal, boring human being. No better or no worse than anybody else. This is an inside job. It's always been an inside job. We each have had a hole in our soul eating away at us. We have to take that hole in our soul and give it back to its rightful owner, and see that younger aspect of ourselves stepping into the light, leaving this plane of existence, taking those details and baggage with them. We're left with the memory, and that's a normal thing for human beings. We have all our memories going back to the day we were born. We don't lose those. but we get rid of the details and the baggage. We no longer allow them to rule and define us. It's a very simple process. You take this program, you complete it in 3 hours, and you're free to step back into life, into the land of the living in the present moment. Look around you. You've got a husband, a wife, children, a soulmate, boyfriend, girlfriend, family, and they're missing you being in their lives because you're focusing on something that never happened to you. You're allowing the death and decay and disease of a dead thing control and rule your life. But when you break free of it and you let it go and you give it back to your younger self, you're now free to live your life fully in the present. Whatever that involves, you allow yourself the right to live in the present. This program works, but only you can work it. It's about giving the past back to its rightful owner, letting it go, and then undoing the learned behavior of your mental disorder. By treating the cause, you release the effect. But if you continue to treat the effect only, the cause will stay in the shadows doing press-ups. Thank you for joining me. Please do like, share, and if you like this presentation, there'll be more following it on the 12-step program and on the healing event, so please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.